Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Something Newsy. I am the head editor-in-chief of the Mesa Press, and my name is Caitlin Klipinski, and I'm here today with,
Jared Knobloch. I'm the sports editor for the Mesa Press.
And I'm Andreas Loreton, and I'm the opinions editor for the Mesa Press.
and today we are going to be discussing pandemic burnout, just being in school. This is kind of like the 1 year mark for a lot of us doing online work at Mesa from the spring last semester to now. And, I feel like a lot of the consensus between students is just kind of feeling generally burnt out of school and kind of like no motivation, no creativity, kind of just a general feeling of like, just awfulness, to be quite honest with you, for listening out there. And I'm sure most of you are feeling the same. So, yeah, we just kind of wanted to talk and rant a little bit about it and let it all out.
But Jared, you graduated in 2020, right?
Yes, last year.
And so when you finished high school, were you in online classes, or was
Yeah,
it just like?
yeah. So I got really really lucky, because when I guess the pandemic first started, it was March of 2020, and as a senior, that kind of second semester before you graduate is really really pointless. So I had like a 6 month long summer break, and then because I didn't even go to my online classes like the last part of senior year because I don't know what they did, but they pretty much were like, all right, the grade you had when school got out is the grade you're gonna have if you don't do any schoolwork for the rest of the year. And so I had all A's and B's, and I was like, all right, I'm done with high school. And then graduation came around, and now that I'm like my first actual online experience was when the fall semester for Mesa actually started.
Did you come to Mesa like because of the pandemic? Like, did you have other options or did you always know that you were going to come to Mesa?
Yeah, so I applied to state and then got rejected.
Me
And I was like,
too.
yes. So I was like, nah, I'm just gonna go to Mesa. I don't even care. So like all my siblings went to Mesa and then transferred to like their respective colleges.
Gotcha.
So it's a cheaper option and I was fine with it.
Caitlin, did you ever go to Mesa when it was not online?
I did. I played soccer for like my whole first semester.
Oh yeah,
Funny
yeah.
because that was like the best semester of my life. Like I was like on a high, like the soccer team was doing well. I made friends. I didn't expect to make any friends because like a community college is kind of like a commuter school. Like you don't really expect to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I've made plenty of friends over my years going.
Yeah, like I was scared because in high school, like people don't really like talk about going to like a community
Mhm.
college. Like it's not like people say like you don't really make any friends. So I was really nervous, but I was having a great time, getting good grades, chilling. And then like fully the pandemic started. And I was like, oh,
Well, that's the thing. I feel like community colleges are like starting to become more mainstream now,
I agree. Yeah.
just because like private universities are becoming like super expensive.
Yeah.
And it's just like people don't really care anymore. Like as long as you after 4 years, 4 or 5, or however long it takes you, as long as you have like that degree, like it doesn't really matter.
Right. It's crazy too because I feel like it kind of like worked out perfectly because I was accepted to UC San Diego and I was kind of just like no. So I would be pissed if I would be paying for that and doing online school right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
To be
yeah,
honest.
exactly.
totally.
Like I would be so livid. But it has been nice doing online work. I mean, so I feel like the first semester, like last spring, I feel like professors were super cool. Like I remember like everyone was like, okay, just come to class if you want, like we can all figure this out together, like reach out if you need help. And I feel like now it's kind of like you have a deadline this Friday. If you don't meet it, like that sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which I get, but
I think
I
yeah,
think the thing with online classes is just that it's like being at home. It's like you're in your home, right? So it's like you're not in that same mental space as like if you were going to a classroom,
right.
and you're not, like you're not getting that full experience of really understanding a professor and understanding like their teaching style or whatever, or
Right.
like, even if it is like Zoom, it's like you're just not getting that full experience. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
for all we know, Jared is 7 feet tall. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just like
like we have no clue.
there's just these things that are just kind of like mental disconnects and stuff. And it's just like,
Fully.
to me, as an old person who's been going to Mesa on and off for a long time, like I was just telling you guys, it's like if I to me this is not like a full school experience online.
Yeah.
And I think it is, especially like for people who are used to going to college in ways that aren't like this, it's really hard to kind of like piece together like what is going on.
I fully
And
agree.
it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's just difficult. And I was before we were rolling, I was saying that like I couldn't really imagine, I was in when I graduated, it was 2012. I can't imagine being like 18 in 2020 and then having to go to school. And I was like flunking out of classes like that when I first started going to Mesa, and that was going to school. I couldn't even imagine what it would be like now with online classes. I think I would just be signing up and then just never showing up. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the level of seriousness that you take it when it's like not face to face, I think
Yeah.
drops. Like it drops a lot.
Well, yeah, because it's more dependent on like that person.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
your own personal motivation that's kind of like driving you to do well in school at this point. And
Yeah.
like, God, I totally lost my train of thought of what I was going to say, but um, I don't know. There has been some upsides to the pandemic. I feel like working from home has like made me be able to like handle a lot of things more. Like I'm involved in a lot more like extracurriculars that I wouldn't have been involved in if we were on campus because of just like commuting. Like I wouldn't have had the time. But I feel like a lot, like my dad even tells me, he's like, you're on the computer for like 9 hours a day. Like that cannot be good for you. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah.
work out really. I don't like
Same.
eat a ton because like I'm just like sitting here doing work all day and I kind of just like forget.
Yeah.
But like that cannot be like good for anyone's mental health at a certain point. And I feel like now is everyone's kind of breaking point in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's like I still work like at a restaurant, right? So it's like you go to work and then it's like it's just this weird thing of like you're at work because it's like you have to be there, you have to go to the actual spot, and then it's like in
Right.
school you're online and it's like, well, what even is this? Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this isn't even the real world to me.
There's no like
You know?
structure to anything either.
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard, and especially with classes that are not over Zoom,
Oh, those are
that
the
are just
ones.
completely online.
Yeah.
oh, the
And
asynchronous ones.
Yeah.
well, it's like, that it's like, okay, well, here's a week of modules and you go at your own pace.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's like, I take a class, I'm not going to say the professor who it is, but it's like he teaches this class and it's like you're not even in Zoom. So you don't even know really, like I think he's very obnoxious in the way that he talks and he types and he teaches. And it's like maybe if I was in class, I'd be able to understand his little, the nuances a little bit more. But it's
Yeah.
like when I'm looking at it on a screen, it's like I don't want to do this. I don't want to look at this. I don't want to be. And since I'm at home, I have the opportunity to just turn away and walk away.
Yeah.
I don't, it's like when you're in class, you're there. It's like working out at home versus going to the gym, right? It's like
Yeah.
you're at the gym, you might as well be lifting those weights. If you're at home, it's like the moment you're tired, it's like I'm
Yeah.
gonna eat that bag of Cheetos I have in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
kind of like okay. So I want to talk about two things Andreas just said. So the first one, I want to bring up something you were talking about earlier, um, uh, like mental disconnect. Um, I like this. The longer this goes on, um, it's just like I feel like the more disconnected people are going to become because
Yeah.
at first you're motivated like, hey, like I'm working from home, I can do what I want, but also like feel productive, and then now
Right.
it's just like you just don't want to do work, you just want to go like lay on the couch, you just are kind of done with schoolwork. And I think that's because like as humans, like we're more social creatures, and so just being like cooped up in your rooms all day is like not healthy. And I'm kind of lucky because like we're at a community college right now, so it's like it's not that big of a deal because we're not at a 4 year. And so it's just as far as like social events, um, it's not as bad as if we were at like, a bigger school, like some of
At
us.
the dorms or something.
Yeah, exactly, like the dorms or like the frat houses or blah blah blah, and
Right.
stuff like that. And then secondly, like um okay, what were you talking about? I need to like, I lost my train of thought.
Not
Got
being
my
able to
train of thought
understand,
lost too.
not being able to understand teachers and stuff, or
Yeah. So being on like these Zoom classes, sitting like uh having these asynchronous classes, it's just like versus doing that versus being in the classroom, like you actually get to like know people, whereas like some of these classes that I'm taking, I don't even like, it doesn't even list who's in the class. So
Yeah.
it feels very isolated, and that's like,
well, most of the time, and you guys are part of the problem too. I'm in class and I'm looking at a screen full of names. I'm not
Hey,
even
I
looking
put
at
my camera on occasionally.
like most people don't turn their camera on, and then
Yeah.
it's like I'm just looking at names, and it's like, okay, so I'm just sitting here with Jana in a class, and I'm just looking at my one professor and Ray, and it's just us three on video lined up, and the rest of it's just an attendance sheet.
I'm guilty of that.
Dude, it's been insane to see like my math class when we first started. There was like 46 or 50 people coming to class, and now there's like 20. We barely hit 20. And I'm like, how many people have dropped out? How many people just stopped showing up? Like, you don't even.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to like give a shit about anything when you're faced with like, it's just a screen. Like we're playing Warcraft with you know what I mean? It's like this is like a video game or something.
Yeah.
It's like it's not it just doesn't click as like as real as it is if you had like a paper in front of you.
Yeah.
Like if you're taking a test in paper and you're in a classroom with all those other people taking a test, that's a lot different than looking at a screen. And you know what I mean? It's just
mentality.
It's just different. It's not the same. And I'm kind of old school in a lot of ways, where how I think teaching should be done and stuff like that. And I think it is important for people to learn how to do things in an absence of technology.
I agree. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think everything should be reliant on technology. And I think we should be understanding of technology, but I also think it's like, we need to learn how to survive. Doing things without it, I think, is an important kind of aspect of being a human being. And so it's like when we're shifted to this mode of teaching, it's all done technologically, and it's all done like, it kind of reverses course for what I think is kind of how I prefer to learn.
Here's a question for both of you. How would you like Mesa to make improvements for students, like in the classroom, like professor wise? Like, how would you like them to like open a train of communication? Like, how could this be better for us to where we feel more included? Because to be honest, in some of my asynchronous classes, I feel like I learned nothing almost.
Yeah, like, I feel like in the class where we're not doing Zoom, I feel like nothing is happening.
No, same. Like and I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if it's just me. And like, I feel bad. Like I really do try to like put my A game on and my best effort and try to like do assignments, but like, I like don't want to go to another Zoom meeting and go to your office hours. Like I will, but it's just like fatigue almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the thing is like no one really has the answers, right? And like I don't blame professors for not understanding how to do online classes when it's just thrown on their plate last minute.
Right.
Like I totally get that, and they're probably doing a better job than I could ever think of doing. But it's just like, yeah, I agree. It's like I don't, it's like if I'm looking at a module and it's like a PowerPoint slideshow that I have to click through myself or something. It's like, what is this? You know what I mean? It's like, you're not teaching me.
Yeah.
Right? Like you wrote out a curriculum, but you're not actually teaching me or mentoring me or advising me. I'm teaching me.
Right.
Based off of your, tool set.
And then it fully becomes dependent on like feedback. Are they even giving you feedback on your work? Is it thorough? Like, is it to your style? Like, you don't even know really their style of teaching. So it's like, how do I know if I'm doing a good job for you? And how do you know if you're doing a good job for me? Like, we can't even really meet in the middle.
If a guy is telling you like, you're going to pay this dude and he's going to be like, all right, I'm going to teach you how to make a desk. And you show up and he has tools and wood and like a shitty instruction manual, is he the one teach? And then he just stands back and lets you do it. Is he the
Yeah.
one teaching you,
And
or
occasionally he throws in like, oh, that should go there actually.
yeah. No, not even that. Not even that. Oh, that should go there. He doesn't even throw you that. He goes, "You're doing that wrong."
Yeah.
And then you go, "How?" And he's like,
Figure it out. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, is that teaching?
Jared,
That's not really teaching. That's just
how do you
providing you
feel?
a tool set.
Like, how do you think a professor or like Mesa could like work better for you in this environment right
I
now?
don't even know.
Like,
I
what are
really
you
don't know, but
asking for, Jared?
Um, See, that's a tough question because, like I said, this is all I've known. I've been in online the last semester and this semester, and that's my college experience so far. And I guess, it's different for everyone. And the reason I say that is because I'm I'd like to think that I'm really independent and I'm good at teaching myself how to do stuff.
Yeah.
And so for myself who doesn't like need as much help from someone to like learn something, I might be able to get along easier with like the current like curriculum versus someone who might need a little more assistance in
Right.
learning like the material.
I'm a kind of similar way. It's like I don't mind doing things myself. In a lot of ways, I prefer to do things myself and figure things out by myself.
Right.
But but not everyone's like that. Like you said.
Ooh, drink some water.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Gotta hydrate out here. It's dry, dude. I'm getting ash down my throat.
For me, I feel like I would just like some leniency. And maybe that's me asking for some sort of pity, and that's like not okay. But like, I know there are students like us who take 4, 5, 6, 7 classes, who go to work every day, who volunteer somewhere, who take care of their kids, who may have even gotten coronavirus and are still dealing with the side effects of that, like long term, whose family members might have died. Like, there are so many like
Variables.
factors and like
Yeah.
variants that are going on right now. And like, I just want someone to be like, it's okay, just get it done. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're trying, and like, this is probably so hard for you, and like, it's fully fine. Because I feel like I haven't gotten that from really like, I mean, I have in some sort of way from some professors and like some aspects, but in other aspects, I kind of feel like left in the dust a little bit. And I get that, it's been a year of us being online, like we should have adapted by now, but really, like, should we have? You know what I mean? Like, we're
Yeah.
still just trying to
Well,
survive.
it's like, it's like working in the service industry this past year. It's like, you know, people come in and they're asking me a million questions on like when we're opening back up and blah blah blah, and then they're mad at us for not being totally open, and they're mad at us for having to wear masks, and then the government is saying, okay, you can open up this much, well, not anymore, and then you can do it this way, and then you can open outdoors, and then not anymore, and then you can open back outdoors, and then you can open, it's this whole inconsistency. And so
Yeah.
it's like adapting is not easy in this world when it's like even our own government is not being consistent in
Yeah.
what they're telling us and how to carry on with our daily lives.
Fully.
And so it's like how are we expected to adapt to anything else when
It's changing.
it's this constant shift in our world or whatever.
Yeah, and like classes only last 16 weeks, and you get a whole new batch of classes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's just like different, like for example, like the science classes that have like lab kits, you have to get those. Like I feel like those classes are a little bit harder because you can only receive so much guidance from someone on a screen
Yeah.
instead of them being there to help
Yeah.
you.
And I that's not me saying like I don't think that we should be socially distanced. I think like we should be. You know what I mean? Like I think
Yeah.
we should be socially distanced. I think we should be doing this online, and I think we should be doing this over Zoom over the past year because that's the healthiest way to do it. But it's just like I just think that it's like the kind of inconsistency of it all is kind of what just
Yeah.
like, kind of gets to you a little bit.
Jared, so this is kind of like the only college you've known is online. Has this changed your perception of like how you want to transfer, how you want to go about college in the future, like just your whole outlook on kind of like the institution that is higher education?
No, cause like I'm one of those people who like plans ahead, like had my whole life planned out. So I already knew like I this isn't going to change it, because a year from now we could be in person, and just it might be back to what our old schedules were, and then it's just water under the bridge. So I'd probably say no. I think I'm still s- going the lane that is college.
Yeah.
I guess this whole experience, it makes me a lot more excited for like when I actually get to go to college classes, and actually have friends in college that I get to see in person, and like see at events and whatnot.
That's
You know.
good that you're positive about it. What about you, Andres? Is this like, well, I mean, as you've told us before, it kind of has, but can you like explain like why, or like what was like the trigger moment for you?
Oh, on what? Sorry,
Just like on your outlook on like higher education as like an institution and like what it provides for you.
I think that I don't know. It part of me kind of thinks that it kind of like revealed how like fragile like the whole institution is,
For sure.
and how I think honestly the one thing that kind of bugs me the most isn't even like the classes themselves, but like the tuition, and how the tuition hasn't decreased.
Word.
That drives me. That's actually like, and that drives me like
Yes.
into a rage mode, because I think that's like that's just ridiculous. It's like pretty much evil, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. But it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It just kind of showed how like thing can be. I don't think anyone was prepared for what was going to happen last year. I don't blame people for not being completely prepared or not knowing exactly what to do, but it's just like it kind of showed like these structures that as we know them are not as safe and sound as we might think they are.
Which is scary. That is such a scary feeling.
I mean, it's like, you grew up your whole life and it's like go to college, and then you go to college, and then this pandemic, and it's like, well, everything you thought was going to happen is now gone, and you now have to adjust to this quick system.
Yeah.
And it's like, things change, and college wasn't ready to adapt so quickly. I don't think they were prepared for that. So
yeah. Here is another question for you both. So what do you think is going to be the biggest challenge going back to school for all kinds of students, for high school students, for college students? Maybe we can focus on that a little bit more specifically, for just like students in general. Like, what are you dreading going back?
I think something I've definitely been dreading is like just assignments in general. Now that I'd say, even if the classes are changing, since like just having an assignment, knowing that you have homework or whatever, or a test coming up, like it's coming, it's going to be like online, blah blah blah. But then when you go back into class, you're like, what am I going to have to worry about today?
Yeah.
Because when teachers like they have the entire semester laid out, and you can see when the assignment comes unlocked, and then when it's submitted, and it has all the directions there.
You have a little bit more control almost.
Yeah. Whereas when you go back to in person, you could walk into class and it'll be like, okay, we're doing a pop quiz today, or like an assignment, like, and you're like, oh, I was not ready for this.
Yeah. You can be ready because you see it online.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Jared, as been going to college for a long time, I can assure you that the thing that you should be dreading most is finding parking.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Mesa parking. Bad news bears.
Yeah.
Bad news bears. I used to have to show up to like my 8 a.m.s at like 7 or like 7:30.
You just park.
I live by state. I would have to leave like an hour and a half, like to get to Mesa on time. And like I would still often be late to like my first class.
Dude, I used to live, like my mom's house is like right up the street from Mesa, and I would drive there because it's like just out of walking distance.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so I would drive there and I'd just be like, yeah, I show up at 7 and then you just fall asleep in your car until like 9:45 or whatever.
Oh my gosh. I used to sleep in my cars in between my classes too. I would go and take a little nap. Oh, Mesa. I miss the campus. Mesa is actually a really beautiful campus, I think.
I completely disagree with that. But going to the newsroom, like, I won't be there next semester, but it's like being in the newsroom is a different feeling And I wish that like we could have been there, because it's like it whips people shape a little bit more, because there's like the budget sheet is like in the room, you're looking at it, it's in front of everyone, it kind of whips people into shape. But it's also like talking and seeing people face to face, and there's like this kind of banter in the class. It's like it gives you ideas, like it gives you more ideas, like, you know, it gets those
Right.
juices flowing. And I think that's something that's like, especially from this class, I think it's missing for a lot of people. Like, you know, people who are never there, they don't really get, it's like being in this classroom and kind of seeing this flow of energy and ideas. It's like it's kind of a different thing than just being in a class and looking at a series
Yeah.
of names on the
Even
screen.
with like editing, I would love to like, because I see everyone's like little suggestions and like their comments on like my work and stuff. And I would love to just sit down with someone and be like, can you like elaborate on like what I did well,
Yeah,
did do well?
you know, it's like when you're editing someone's paper online, it's harder, because it's like you don't want to come off, it's like when you're texting someone and it's like you have to put the exclamation point at the end of the text to make sure they know that you're not mad. It's
Yeah.
like you don't want to make people feel stupid in your edit. So I think it's easier in person to be like, hey, you're stupid in person. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's like easier to be like,
Yeah.
hey, you know, I'm not really getting this.
Yeah, like this wasn't as successful. You should do it. Like,
Yeah. Like I like where you're going with this, but could you, you know, it's and then when you're talking to someone, sometimes when they just talk to you,
you
it's
get
easier
it.
than, because I like to write how I talk. You know
Same.
what I mean? But I think it kind of takes some getting used to for people. So when they're talking to you in person and they're getting those ideas out off the cuff, you can just be like, you know, put that on the paper. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Yeah. Why do you think students have like experienced such burnout? Because like when I'm scrolling through like TikTok or Twitter, literally everybody, like I don't think I've met one person that's like, yeah, I'm doing really good right now, guys. I'm super positive. Like I feel like everyone's like, I'm suffering. I can't get out of bed. Like, why do you think that is? Like, especially like right now, I feel like.
well, you know, like when I was unemployed, like me and my girlfriend were both unemployed for like 5 months. And that was awesome, because we were just watching like 2 or 3 movies a day. We picked up reading again. Like we want to read more books. And I started doing like my writing that I do on the side and stuff like that. And um, that was something. Even though we couldn't, you know, we were living, you know, we're living together, and then we have our roommate who's an old friend of mine. It's like we had a kind of cool setup going on when we're unemployed. But it's like when you're working and you're constantly dealing with like BS from crazy people, and you don't have an outlet to go like hang out with your friends. You
Yeah.
know, like I work next door to a bar, and like after a shift, I mean, you guys aren't old enough to do this, but like after a
You
shift,
are.
me and my coworkers would go, you know, next door to the bar and just kind of like loosen up. And, you know, like you have those moments of, you know, not because of the alcohol, but because we get to hang out outside of our work environment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we get to be a little more social, and, you know, we don't have that anymore. So it's like so my life right now is like, I go to work, and then I hate it. And then I come home, and then the next morning I have school, and I
Yeah.
never got to like
Take a
have any of
break.
that unwinding process. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And you know, it's like a lot of people do have that, but it's like, especially when you're like younger, like your guys' age, it's like, you know, it's important to have those like social moments, you know.
Yeah.
It's because,
Go ahead.
well, it's just important to kind of have those resets, those mental resets.
Yeah. It's really hard to find that too, especially because like when I went to Mesa, it was like, okay, I'm going to prep my lunch for tomorrow. I'm going to get to school at 8 or 9. I'm going to go to my classes. I'm going to eat lunch in between. I'm going to go to the library and like sit and like actually do my work for 2 hours. Afterwards, I'm going to run at the track. Then I'm going to go home. I'm like a very like scheduled person, and I need that type of structure. So being at home and being like, sitting on my computer, hearing the guy like outside, like work on like the lawn, like the gardeners and stuff, like that's making noise. My dad's like doing a work call in the other room. Like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to work out. I haven't eaten in an hour because like I'm in a Zoom class or something. And like my Zoom is like a podcast to me at this point. Like it's just on and I'm like folding some laundry. Like it's just like kind of chaos. Like there isn't like a
Yeah.
moment where I'm like, okay, I'm dedicating this time to do my homework because I'm in my room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And plus, like, you don't get to enjoy like the outdoors.
Yes,
You
exactly.
know, like when you're at Mesa, you're at school, you get the sun shining through the classroom a lot of the time. And then
Yep.
it's like you're walking from class to class. Sometimes you have an hour break, you're sitting outside.
Yeah.
It's, it's what we're doing right now is it's not really natural or like sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially at Mesa, I love the library. I thought it was really cute. So I would
The
go.
library is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would go all the time and I would sit by a window or like I would study for my test the next day and I'd be like, okay, like I'm on track. And I feel like that's kind of what we're missing. There isn't like a storm of like praise almost. And I think for students, especially like for me, myself, I like kind of live on that, like, okay, I'm doing a good job. Like
Yeah.
I know I'm
Yeah.
doing a good job, but this person is saying that I'm doing a good job. So I know I'm on the right track and like path. And
You know what I
like,
miss in the Mesa library is like showing up in the Mesa library and you're walking through like the book aisles and then you see people just like asleep on the floor.
oh my gosh, yes. Or like sitting at their desk, like doing like a
Yeah.
Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. Or like they're sitting in one of those like comfy chairs at the tables and they're like completely passed out.
Yeah. Jared, because you haven't ever really been to like Mesa, like the campus, I feel like a lot of like the freshmen or like the incoming students didn't really get to learn about like the services Mesa has. Like Mesa has like a big like tutoring thing. Like there's like a bunch of stuff I feel like on campus that kind of like goes on that I
It's
feel
like
like,
Mesa culture.
yeah, I mean like
It
kind
kind
of,
of is, yeah.
yeah, in a way, like Andres, what I'm talking about, the big like cafeteria.
Yeah. Dude, I watched the like 2016, I watched like the Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump third debate like at Mesa. Like
Really?
they were just showing it and I was like, like screw it, like I'll go.
Why
And I
not?
was just like watching it in this like room full of people. Like
Yeah.
there is kind of a college culture at Mesa. It's weird because it's like it's not like frat houses and parties or whatever. It's like just a bunch of older people who are like they meet up and watch stuff or whatever. But it's
Or
cool.
when
Like there's
you're like walking to the parking lot, and there's a bunch of people asking you to sign signatures.
yeah. Or like you'll show up and there's like a totaled car that's telling you not to drink and drive or something. Or there's like weird swap meets and stuff like that. And I think that's cool. I think that like especially for people who are from out of to Mesa, which boggles my mind. I don't know why people would do that, but like it's like I don't I think that's cool. Like Mesa provides those things for people, especially younger people too.
Yeah. It definitely made me feel better about going to Mesa, to be honest, to like kind of like get a sense of culture. Cause there's a community college down the street from where I live, which is like my hometown community college. And like I wasn't like super interested in it just because like I live here. Like I know the area, like I'm kind of over it. But like coming to San Diego, I felt so comfortable there because like there were so many like I got that experience that I wouldn't have been able to get at a community college here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like good in a way.
Just like you're from Palm Springs, right?
Yeah.
Jared, where are you from?
I'm from here. I live 5 minutes from Mesa.
No,
what high school did you go to?
UC, University City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So literally I've only been to campus once, and that was at the beginning of this semester to pick up my lab kit. So the only thing I've seen of campus is like the outside buildings and then the main parking lot. Which
it's just like it's
continue, you go first.
oh sorry. It's fun, like kind of not fun, but it like there's a little like you go to Mesa and there's just like I remember like it's the like math and science building.
Yes.
Like the newer one.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kind of middle building. I remember like years ago, it was like 2014 or something. I was like walking around the side of it and there's just like this like there's like this window and in the window there's like all these like 80s punk flyers like 80s punk shows, and that's like the music I'm into, right? It's like the music I grew up listening to and stuff. And so I'm walking by it and just like tripping out, and so it's like you see all these like weird obscure flyers, and then I'll just stand there. I never found out who it was that put them up, but I would just stand there and like read them.
Yeah,
and, like,
when you're in the elevator and they have all the flyers too.
Yeah. And then like in the MS building, it's like, there's just like these bulletin boards and it's like join this club or like come work here or whatever. And it's just like you just stand around and read them and kind of dawdle around. And it's just kind of funny, like being part of that life and like having those memories and stuff. And it, it's like if this were to go on for 4 more years, it's like, you don't get, you might get some of like the material benefits of school, but none of like the nostalgic benefits of school, if that makes sense.
Yeah, which I feel is probably super important.
Yeah. I mean, it helps your sanity when you're there. That's for sure.
I think so, yeah. All right, closing remarks, everyone. So positive going forward, how can we like kind of like take control of the rest of the semester and like, like what can we do to make this a little bit better, to shine, some light in this little dark cave that we're sitting in and brewing? What can you do, Jared? You go first.
I think we just got to finish strong. I mean, there's only a month left of the semester, and then you have a whole 2.5-month summer break, and by then things might be more open. You never know what could happen in the next 3 months, and it might look a lot better than it did now. So there's always that to look forward to.
Get vaccinated and go hang out with your vaccinated friends and take walks, do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. For me, I think it's like you're running a marathon and you're almost there and you're like, should I walk the rest of it? Like,
yeah.
There's only like a little bit more to go. Like you can see the finish line and you're like, I'm so tired of this right now, but like it's right there. Like it's a matter of like how fast or how like well I'm gonna get there. And at the end of it, I'm probably gonna fall on the ground and cry a little bit. But like it's like you just gotta get there. And the UCs come out this week, which is positive. That's good. So cross your fingers for me, people.
Oh, the applications?
I get my decisions, yeah.
Nice. That's exciting.
So thank you everyone for listening. I hope you were able to, kind of feel what we were saying and, rant with us. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. Bye.